In today's video, I'm reviewing a 1999 Chevy Suburban. This is part of the 8th generation model of the Chevy Suburban, which is the longest lasting nameplate with production beginning in 1935. The 8th generation model ran from 1992 to 1999, seeing a minor refresh on the exterior in 1994 and a major interior update in 1995. The Chevy Suburban is also sibling to the GMC Suburban and shares, heavily mechanically speaking, with the Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra pickups. The Chevy Suburban has a really great look to it. I really like how it's just got a good old American, conservative, clean, simple style to it. It looks very heavy duty. At the same time, it's got a slightly upscale look to it. And this 8th generation model has really stood the test of time very well. I mentioned that the Suburban saw a minor refresh to the exterior in 1994. The main difference that you'll note is that it's got a revised front grille and headlight design. Cleaned up the vehicle a little bit and gave it a more modern upscale look. This specific Suburban is the 2500 model, so it's a 3/4 ton. You can also get the Suburban in a 1/2 ton model. With the 3/4 ton model, you're getting a better towing capacity and payload capacity. The Chevy Suburban is also offered in a short wheelbase form called the Chevy Tahoe. That was introduced for the 8th generation of the Suburban. And the main difference you'll note with that model is that it comes with a 3rd row seat, which wasn't available on the Tahoe until the 9th generation, as well as additional cargo capacity. So behind the rear wheel here, you'll see that this window is quite a bit larger than the Tahoe, gives you that added space. You'll see that we've got the barn doors on the back here, open it down the middle. They also offered the Suburban and Tahoe with the option of a lift tailgate. The 8th generation of the Suburban definitely looks a lot older than what you got with the 9th generation model when they kind of curved things up a little bit and gave it more of that modern upscale look. But I also really like the old school look of this 8th generation, given that it's a little bit more square and just has that more rugged, durable look than what you get in more current models. This Suburban has the LS trim package, which is not the top of the line LT model, but still comes with a pretty nice level of overall refinement. You'll see that in the Suburban, it's got a pretty classic design here in the interior with a nice layout and pretty good quality materials. Seats are fairly comfortable. And the vehicle comes with quite a few options. We've got power windows, power door locks, power mirrors. We've got full power seats. Nice, clean, simple instrument cluster. Leather wrapped steering wheel. In the center dash, we've got AM/FM radio and CD player, as well as climate control with air conditioning. See a number of vents to distribute air throughout the cabin. Down here below, we've got cigarette outlet, and then we've got 2 more 12-volt outlets, as well as an ashtray. This right here is a cup holder. And then you'll see that in the center console, we've got a couple more cup holders right here. Got a writing surface, flip up to make it a little bit easier to write on. And then a nice large center console, coin storage, very spacious. Front bench seat was also an option in place of that center console. Up top, we've got climate control for those rear seats, got reading lights. This is a compartment for a garage door opener, compartment for sunglasses, and then a compartment for CDs. You also notice that the rear view mirror has a compass and temperature option up in that top right, and it's a self-dimming rear view mirror. Down on the floor, you'll notice the 4-wheel drive transfer case. So we've got 2-wheel drive as well as a 4 low and high option. And then jumping into the back of the Suburban, you'll see that we've got lots of legroom and headroom here. Very spacious rear passenger compartment. See, quick view up to the front. The center console here has got some built-in cup holders and other storage space. And then within this middle row, we've got a built-in armrest. So it folds down, we've got 2 more cup holders and tissue storage. And then you'll see that we've got a 60-40 split in this middle row seat, so you can access that 3rd row from either the passenger or driver side. You can also fold these seats flat if needed. If you're just accessing that 3rd row, no need to remove the headrest. If you do want to fold those flat, then you would want to remove that. By pushing on this lever here and then pulling the seat back down, we can provide that access to the third row. Not as easy access as what you're going to find in modern SUVs, but pretty decent for this era. And then you'll see that within that third row, pretty decent legroom here too. They keep that floor pan really low, giving you pretty good legroom in the back, something that was definitely an advantage over early Tahoe models with the third row seat. And then you'll see we've got some additional vents back here for that third row, cup holder and other storage space on the armrest here, and then nice visibility out the back window, although no ability to open those windows. And then we can put this guy back in place, put the seat back down. We'll come around to the back of the Suburban. And again, we've got barn doors here, providing nice wide access into that rear cargo area. You'll see that it's very spacious. So this is, again, real advantage of the Suburban model is that you get that seating for up to 7 or 8 and plenty of cargo space. Also got the spare tire stored back here. The Chevy Suburban's available with either rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, and most models will come with the 5.7-liter V8, including this model. It's got 255 horsepower and an EPA rating of 11 miles per gallon in the city and 16 miles per gallon on the highway. On the 2500 model, you also have the option of a 7.4-liter V8, or on both the 1500 and 2500 models, you could get a 6.5-liter turbo diesel. The manual transmission was dropped with the 8th generation, and so all Suburbans come with a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, fun fact for you, my very first vehicle that I purchased was actually a 1995 Chevy Tahoe, and so driving this Suburban is a pretty fun trip down memory lane. I've always been a big fan of these vehicles, and so driving this 99 Suburban is a fun little treat to kind of remember my old Tahoe, but it's also a really impressive thing to see how far Chevy's come since the introduction of this 8th generation model. And to be fair, given that this was introduced to market in 1992, it was a very advanced SUV for its time, had really great exterior styling, a very nice interior, and a really solid SUV overall. But it's also just amazing to drive this vehicle and compare it to today's modern Suburban, which is really a luxury SUV, very advanced, great powertrain with a ton of power and good fuel economy. And you go back to this vehicle and it's pretty primitive in comparison. It's definitely an old school SUV. You know, there wasn't the same standard for SUVs in this era. They weren't as popular, they weren't selling that same high sales volume. And so this was essentially a 2500 Silverado converted to an SUV. Now, despite the fact that this Suburban doesn't keep up with today's modern Suburbans in terms of the overall design and features, it's still a really solid SUV. It's got a great feel to it, very comfortable, pretty quiet, smooth ride. I'd say that the only real downsides are that the steering's got a lot of play, so it's a pretty loose steering, and you've got to kind of keep adjusting the steering as you're driving down the road to keep it in a straight line. Likewise, you can see that as I'm driving a straight line right now, I can put a lot of play in the steering and it just keeps going straight. And so they've definitely come a long way in that department. And then the other thing too is, despite the fact that this was a very powerful vehicle for 1999, compared to today's standards, it's pretty weak. Go ahead and accelerate onto the highway real quick here. You can hear that engine work. You'll see that it's not especially quick. And that, of course, is because, despite the fact that this was a very powerful vehicle for its era, it's got 255 horsepower. And so compared to today's standards, that's pretty minuscule. Auto industry has really come a long way in that sense. Still a very powerful vehicle for 1999, but not all that powerful in today's standards. Still a really solid engine. It's got a great sound to it. In general, these have had a really good track record for reliability. Definitely not going to see the best fuel economy, but again, for a vehicle from this era, you're not going to see that with any truck or SUV. So that's a review of the 1999 Chevy Suburban. Really great SUV, and while they have done a lot to really update this vehicle over the years, the 1999 model is still a really great vehicle. Offers a really great exterior style that has stood the test of time very well. It's a very comfortable vehicle, has a pretty nice level of refinement for the era, and is just a really solid SUV overall. If you have any comments or questions on the Suburban, leave them in the section below. For more car reviews, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.